Yeah, so the thing is, you need to actually retrain your brain. Um, you have to be the conscious observer of your thoughts as much as possible. You may need meditation to do this. You may just be able to do it. Um, I can do it either way, but you have to be the observer of your thoughts. Okay, when you're in these states of anxiety and depression, you have to actually consciously say to yourself, shit, I've got anxiety, I've got depression. What am I thinking about? And you stop yourself. You go, like, just take a quick look at it before you stop yourself, because you don't want to bypass. You have to actually, yeah, you've got to deal with this stuff. Take a look at it. And if you take a look at what's causing you either anxiety or depression, and you don't have a solution for that thing, throw it away. Stop thinking about it. There's no point in thinking about something you can't fix. So you consciously say to yourself, can I do anything about this? No. Stop thinking about it. Okay? Sometimes, like, you'll go, there must be a solution. So you keep thinking about it. But you keep going around in loops. And there is no solution. Sometimes there just is no solution. Sometimes things just happen, and they happen for a reason. So you need to say to yourself, is there something I can do about this? If there is, fix it. Okay? And then you lose the anxiety and depression, because you either fix it or you have a plan in place to fix it. So, if you can continue to do that, be the conscious observer of all of your thoughts, and every time you get in this place of anxiety or depression, you stop yourself and ask yourself that question, is there anything I can do? No. You stop yourself from going down that same path, from looping. Because the way the brain actually works, this is a metaphor that I use, and it's proven by science, but this is a simple version to put it in the context as to how you may see it in the real world. Okay, so I'm into four-wheel driving. Okay, you go along a track that you're creating yourself. It's so difficult, it's so slow, because there is no track there. Okay, so you've got to avoid all the obstacles on the way. It's really, really difficult. If you are on a well-used track, it's much easier. So what happens in the brain is, if you've been in this cycle of anxiety and depression for a long time, you've worn this track so much that they've just about, like, they've put down bitumen. They've paved the road, and it's so easy for the brain to go down that path. It's much easier for the brain to go down that path than of anxiety and depression than it is to go down the path of joy and happiness. So you need to jump in your four-wheel drive and build this path. Find a way to find some sort of joy and happiness, and just go there. And every time you do that, what happens is, using the analogy of the four-wheel drive thing, and this is proven science of what happens in the brain, and Dr. Joe Dispenza is great at explaining this, but what happens is the more you use the pathway of the positive side, what happens is you follow that same path because it's easier. Even though it's still difficult, it's easier. The more you go down that path, using the analogy of four-wheel driving, every time you go down there, you just fix, a little bit, like fill in a pothole or whatever. It just happens. You don't need to physically do that. It just happens. The more you go down there, the path gets deeper and wider and more easy to access. And then as you do that, the pathway of the negative side, because you're not using that, it starts to grow over. So what was a paved way, all of a sudden, no one's using it. Your mind's not using it. So it starts to grow over. The trees start to get closer and closer to the road because it's not being maintained. It's not being used. And that will eventually grow over. So the new pathway that you've created, the one that was so hard to do, the positive one, it was so hard to do at first, because you've been going down that same path over and over and over again, it's much wider. So the brain's going to go, what do I do? Which is the easiest path to take? And it becomes the one of positivity. Love you.